Dubai's economy grew by 4.6% in 2013, its fastest rate of growth in 6 years, driven by its core sectors. The economy rose to 325.7 billion dirhams, up from 311 billion the year before. That's according to figures from Dubai Statistics Centre. Oliver Cornock is regional editor of Oxford Business Group, who earlier this year published their report, Dubai 2014. He's here to update us on projections as we head rapidly towards 2015. Oliver, many thanks for joining us on Emirates News once again. How important is it then for Dubai to continue to attract particularly international business to the many free zones, 22 free zones in fact in Dubai?
Absolutely, and these free trade zones have become hallmarks of Dubai's success and something that we all speak a great deal about. The trouble is that other countries within this region, and indeed further afield, are talking about that success and trying to emulate it. So it has to come back to that focus on what makes a free trade zone work for a foreign investor. That comes down to cost, it comes down to ease of doing business, ease of setting up one's business, as well as, of course, the infrastructure that goes around a business hub, such as airports, road. And all of those things we know are focuses for the Dubai authorities and something that they're very committed to doing. But it's not going to be something that one can sit back on one's laurels and think we're fine. You have to keep on top of that. So it really is competition, competition, competition and cost.
Now, as we head towards Expo 2020, what should companies be thinking about now to start being prepared really for that in just a few years' time?
Well, in short, of course, it's opportunity. It's a showcase. And I think there are 2 points. In the longer term, companies operating or that will in the future operate out of Dubai before the Expo will need to get their house in order. They'll need to be prepared to have the scrutiny, the eyes of the world on them. And of course, the second point is in the short term is going to be specific opportunity for construction and infrastructure. We already heard in your previous package about what's going on in retail alone. If you look at what's going on in that southern corridor around the Expo zone, what's planned, and we understand that the plan is going to be very comprehensive. It's going to have regulated zoning and many areas there. So just in the planning, technical areas that foreign investors can look toward, but also plenty of companies already operating here in Dubai.
Now, Oliver, obviously the tourism sector is incredibly important for Dubai's economy. We know that. It's one of the main pillars of the economy. Now, how can we sustain this growth to meet the ambitious targets?
Well, I think there's a twofold answer to that. The first is a consolidation of what Dubai does really well in the tourism sector, which is its brand, its hallmark is all about luxury 5, 6, 7-star offerings. So firstly, it's to maintain that. It's to look at that top-end offering, to update rooms, to build the capacity there, to maintain that. Again, there's competition growing around not just this region, but around the world for that market. And it was interesting that I now note that the Four Seasons and the Mandarin Oriental, notable exceptions on the Dubai horizon, and now have plans to enter that market. The second point is to look towards the middle tier offering, which is something that perhaps hasn't been in the focus until recently. Really important, perhaps teaming up with operators, private sector operators, Emirates, to attract market that has not really been drawn to Dubai. With that, concomitant to that, comes the food and beverage offerings, the retail offerings that go with that particular niche tourism. That will ensure that going forward, the huge capacity that's being built will, of course, be filled.
How much emphasis in your Dubai report this year did you put on new laws and regulations that are being implemented, particularly in the residential sector?
Well, legal framework, of course, is vital. It's one of those things that a foreign investor always looks at. And in the post-crisis environment, the legal framework here in Dubai has been very much under scrutiny. But specifically in terms of the the real estate sector, we will be looking again this year at the impact of the doubling of the registration fee that goes with property purchase, the mortgage caps that are being put in place, and also that all-important limitation of flipping properties, the resale of off-plan properties and things like that. Those will all be measures that are only just now beginning to take an impact, and we'll be analysing that very, very carefully in our forthcoming publication. And indeed, as always, we'll be partnering with a local legal firm to get the top technical information for our readers.
Fantastic. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but once again, Oliver Cornock, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Greg.